Welcome to the world of some edibles, where there's a variety of CBD and THC delights. Whether it's cookies, brownies, or rice cereal bars, Some Edibles has what you're looking for. Milligrams of CBD and THC on the label will help you discover your magical number. Not too little and not too much, just right. Order at someedibles.com and use coupon code DRUNKEN for 10% off your order. That's coupon code DRUNKEN for 10% off your order at someedibles.com. Hey everybody, welcome to Drunken Housewife Reviews. I'm Sarah, the Drunken Housewife.
And I'm her host / husband, Ian, who keeps her on the rails best I can.
And that's a full-time job. And today we are here with author John Bukowski.
Twice,
yes. Welcome back to the show. Your return engagement for your new book, which I'm not done with it yet, so don't give me any spoilers.
Well,
you got to have a little bit of my Irish before we get started here.
You're very much into it, though. I mean,
the book we're talking about is Checkout Time. And it literally starts with a bang. I mean, literally from page 1, you're in the action. You're there, and you did a very, I think, amazing job of describing everything that was going on in the main character's mind during that moment. I'm trying to figure out how to talk about it without giving it a word.
We can talk about, tone and
but I mean, the main character that I'm talking about, his name is Tom Tomasinski, and he is an injury okay, I'm gonna mess it up again.
Epidemiologist.
What they said.
Epidemiologist. There you go.
Which, as you pointed out before we got started, is a word that a lot of people heard during COVID. And he's a former veterinarian, which sounds slightly familiar to me in talking with you in interviews past. So he's a former vet turned injury epidemiologist. Did I do it?
You did.
Got it.
Yes, maybe a little more whiskey and it'll be rolling off the tongue.
There you go.
Who knows?
There you go.
Page 1. Well, I'm trying to figure out how I'm just gonna have to say it, I guess, is he's involved in an explosion. Just page 1.
Yeah.
You're smacking us in the face with what's going on. And teams up with FBI agent Sally Butterworth, which, thank you for my craving for pancakes. To solve the crime, to solve the mystery. And like I said, and like I had told you before we got started, I'm not completely done with the book, but I am far enough into it that I can say whatever people's thoughts are by like chapter 3 or so, you're wrong. I mean, there were a few characters I'm like, that's the person, and it's like, no, that's not the person.
Well, he keeps you guessing.
Twist,
so that's a good
turn,
that's the thing they say with a thriller. The difference between, well, first of all, I want to say, thanks for having me on again.
Sure.
Okay, if this is water, because it's a little early to be drunk.
No, you're fine.
I know that's why it's Irish coffee. Coffee owns me with a little splash Irish.
When you're writing a mystery, the point is you're trying to figure out who done it.
Exactly.
Whereas in a thriller, you generally know who does it, and you're trying to catch them. But almost every thriller I can think of, there's always some uncertainty as to who the bad guys are up until about halfway through the book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that just adds a little extra spice, a little extra suspense. It's not really a whodunit, but it's a couple of red herrings or blind alleys help the read to go along better.
Yeah, and you definitely, like I said, do that, because I'm reading along and I'm like, this has got to be, and it's like, nope, that's not it.
Yeah, I'll give you
Yeah.
the little, just for everybody out there. I'll just give you the log line for it, the couple, the elevator pitch, if you will.
Yes,
Sure.
yes,
The story of a extortion bomber known mysteriously as Conrad Hilton, who's trying to make a killing from a group of hotel owners, and he's not above killing to prove his point.
yes.
Oh.
A beautiful FBI agent, Sally Butterworth, you mentioned, and a handsome government researcher, Tom Komisinski, or as he's nicknamed, Tom.
Yes.
They pursue him until Conrad turns the tables and the hunters become the hunted.
Yes. And
Very cool.
pretty early on, Conrad kind of latches on to dear old Tom. And kind of makes it personal, which I love. I always love when because like Criminal Minds and all that, when the unsub latches on to one person, is like, we're gonna make this personal. I love those moments. I love those moments.
We've all thought about, like, with serial killers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they pick somebody just out of a hat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They like their name, or they like the way they look, or they don't like the way they look. And we could all be victims of that without
the randomness. Yeah.
Yeah.
realizing it.
Exactly.
It's simple.
Yeah. And it's scary, because there are so many people out there with the cyber world that we live in. There are so many people that with a few clicks, they've got your whole life.
Yeah.
They've got everything that they can use against you.
Well, I'm trying to think. You have to help me with this. There's a movie where the premise was, they would pick a name. No, it was The Jerk, where they would pick where Steve Martin had his name in the phone book, and this guy would randomly pick who he was going to kill from the phone book. He'd just pick a name, and you don't know how much of that really goes on, even back then when it was just a phone book.
Well, they always said, like with Ted Bundy, that he picked women that had a certain look that he did not know.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But it's just so scary that for whatever reason, you look like somebody that's pissed them off, you have the name of somebody that's pissed them off, or they're just like, you know what, that sounds like a good name of somebody to pick on.
Yeah. And it certainly that's the case in Checkout Time.
Yes.
Where, as Tom becomes involved, and a nickname which is used a lot that he really doesn't like, Tom, that kind of all clicks with Conrad.
Yes. And there's one scene where I'm just like, I am so feeling Tom's frustration when nobody's believing him. And he's like, I am telling you right now, you got it. And everybody's like, yeah, right, whatever, sure. There's a bomber. Okay. And you're just like,
that was fun writing that scene, because in my head, I was hearing how his words sounded to people around him.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's like on a delay where he's only realizing that it sounds stupid or juvenile or crazy after he said it. So
Yeah.
he has to,
yeah.
and that only makes it sound more crazy. If someone says, listen, I'm not one of these crazy people. Trust me, I'm not.
Yeah.
They're
Sure.
crazy.
Yeah. and yeah, they're all just like, sure. You're perfectly sane. Sure. Security. And but you can feel his frustration in that, because he's like, I am telling you the truth. I know this is, what I'm telling you is true. And they're just like,
this was a real fun book to write. I won't say it was easy because no writing is easy.
No.
No.
Everything just kind of flowed. I could hear the characters in my head. I could hear their accents. Uh, if there's petulance in the voice, I could hear all that. I was hearing the conversations going back and forth, and I was basically recording what I was hearing. I wasn't
Oh
really
yeah.
writing it. And
Yeah.
also I don't think there was ever a time when I had to go back and really rework part of the plot. I've had to do that in some other works,
Okay.
but it all just kind of clicked one thing into the next, and they were like revealed to me. Like I was watching a movie and it was the next scene that I saw in my head. And that's always a good way to be. You know, they've described writing a book as basically a movie in your head.
Hmm.
Mhm.
The readers to be seen watching along with you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm actually a playwright as well, and to have those characters actually talking and being able to
Right.
hear their voices back and forth, it really helps the book or play flow in that respect, because it's just they're writing the piece for you. They really are.
I
Yeah.
want just recording what was it Mozart supposedly used to say. It was all in his head. It's a matter of the writing it down was scribbling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a movie where I think they did a really good job of kind of showing that. The Man Who Invented Christmas, which is about Charles Dickens writing A Christmas Carol. I don't know if you've seen that, where he's sitting in his study and he's surrounded by the characters and he's like, do something. And
Right.
they're like, you kind of got us in a body, dude. We don't know what to do. We don't,
Exactly.
you know, and he's like, well, why won't you do this? And they're like, because that's not what we would do.
Yeah.
You're wanting us to do that, but that's not.
The characters kind of
Yeah.
take sometimes. They surprise you. They do things that you didn't initially think they were going to do. I certainly saw that in my first book, Project Suicide, which came up ago.
Yeah.
And you basically got to go with that. If you try to buck them, you're going to it's not going to sound genuine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And I have to say, I love Sally. I love Sally, especially the scene in the bar where she and Tom first meet, where she's like, hang on, okay, let's do this.
Right.
You know, it's like, I don't come here often. I've already had my drinks. I'm ready to go to bed. It's just like,
I saw Sally as inspired a little bit by Agent Starling in Silence of the Lambs, but they were both dealing with being a good-looking woman in a man's world. But Agent Starling was very polite, very demure, violent when she had to be.
Yeah.
yeah.
Sally is much more of almost like a tomboy. She's trying to fit into a man's world by being kind of like a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, she's certainly lived with her getting hit on, and we see that throughout the book, starting with Tom Tom.
Mm-hmm.
But she has to kind of just set that aside because she's driven to advance in the agency.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do love, I think there are characters throughout the book that I think everybody's gonna be like, oh my God, I've dealt with this person, either personally or professionally. I have dealt with this person. And there is the one agent that she has to work with there's no other way to say he's a dick. He's a dick. And he's like, I'm the one in charge. You're going to listen to me. And everybody has dealt with a person like that, where it's like, you're wrong, but I'm going to let you hang yourself because you're not going to listen to me, and you can see that in Sally, where she's like, I can almost like see her eyes like rolling and that big sigh of, oh, Jesus, this guy, I could feel that coming out of her when dealing with him.
The two special agents in charge that she deals with. One is a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
And one is Hartzell, well, call him Hard Ass, which is the one you just mentioned.
Yes.
Who survive, basically, has to
Okay.
put up. And that's part of what she's dealing with too. There's times when she has to eat crow, which her personality doesn't like that
She does not. No, no.
process. I think if there's a theme to the book, and most books have a theme, whether the author intends it or not,
Mm-hmm.
and the theme of this is balance work and relationships,
Okay.
balance infatuation with true love and a deeper relationship. Those are the kind of things that are going on for both her and Tom.
Yes.
Okay.
As they pursue Conrad and as he pursues them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like I said, sometimes it's like she's the smartest person in the room, but she's a woman. And,
And we're still hung up with that.
Yeah. And that's still a thing.
Yeah.
It's, she gets mansplained too. There's no other way to say it. And, she's just like, why am I having to deal with this? I just felt her so much. And, when she's just like, oh God, he's so wrong. He is so wrong.
He's a character that I really like. Her and Tom and Doolittle and all the other characters in there. Like I said, it was really fun writing. It went smoothly. It went quickly. I think I knocked out the first draft in something like 5 months.
Wow.
That's pretty fast. Yeah.
Yes.
And it just clicked.
Well, I have to say I highly recommend it. Like I said, you start us off with, he's dead asleep and all of a sudden, seriously, things just explode around him, literally. And I mean, he's like right from the start, there's that moment where it's like, is Sally gonna believe him, or is she gonna be like, yeah, whatever, because you're the guy that hit on me in the bar? But it's like she realizes so very quickly he knows what he's talking about and he can be an asset, and if I'm smart, I'm gonna latch on to this asset,
Right.
And that shows that she's got, she's not only intelligent, but she has street smarts.
Right.
And there are a lot of people in this world that, they
one or the other.
They don't, they may be the most intelligent person in the room, but they have no street smarts. No, you wouldn't trust them to shop for their own groceries, but complicated mathematical equations are their jam,
Yeah.
And
interestingly, while I was doing the research for this, and I often wondered if the FBI or somebody was watching my computer searches for how to make fight and how to make napalm.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought, it's going to be taking place in at least part of the action, or part of the story is going to be in 2 FBI field offices, the Knoxville field office in Tennessee and the Cincinnati field office. And the action kind of takes place up and down I-75, which I've driven many times because I live both places, or at least live in Southern Ohio.
Gotcha.
So I thought I could make up what these offices look like, because we've all seen Silence of the Lambs and all these other things. We kind of know. We've seen. I remember the old FBI series back in the '60s, and we kind of have an idea in our heads what a government FBI office might look like, and people would buy it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice to actually see inside, and then you could pepper some little details into the story? That kind of old school research is always nice when you can get it. So I contacted both field offices, and the Cincinnati one said, no, you can't have a tour. The special agent in charge decides that, and they say no. So I contacted Knoxville, and they said, sure, when do you want to do it? And I got a 1 hour guided tour by a very nice PR lady.
Sure.
Who I met the special agent in charge, who happened to be a woman.
Oh,
Oh,
awesome.
there you go.
Very pleasant. Shook hands with her, and I'm sure if she tried a little harder, she could have made me twinge or cringe because she's a strong little lady. And she said, hope you like everything. If you have any questions, make sure you ask and stuff. Like, got to meet the armorer, got to see where the big screens are set up, where when they do when they have an actual big case that they're handling, and they need to see feed from all over the place where it feeds it. Where they take the phone calls from the public, where prisoners are brought in, the beautiful foyer with the FBI seal inlaid in marble on it. It's
Wow.
Oh,
walk in. And I've tried to throw some of those details to just kind of spice up,
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
give them a little look inside. And that's what I like to do with books. I'm always a big fan of Michael Crichton. And you give people a look behind the scenes, what it's really like to be a scientist, what it's really like to be a veterinarian, what it's really like to be in the FBI. And if you can do that, then it makes them, I always say writing is like being a con man, because it's all a lie. We're telling lies,
Yeah.
stories, but you want people to be buying into the story. So you have to have that truth peppered into it so that they go, wow, this guy knows what he's talking about. I'm going to buy that Brooklyn Bridge.
There you
Gotcha.
go. Yeah. 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 Cause I mean, I cannot remember who said it, but somebody said something about lies are always better if there's a little bit of truth in them. So
Yep.
that's
Oh, it's
kind of what
easier
you're
to
doing, is
believe, yeah.
you've thrown in truthful details, but judged it,
And that's I give a little workshop on research and fiction writing.
Okay.
I'm going to be giving it at the Imaginarian conference in Louisville in July.
Okay.
Okay.
That's one of the things that, research does for you. You're not writing a textbook. You don't want so much research that people get bored,
Yeah.
their eyes glaze over, but you want enough where it gives them, I'm looking behind that curtain. This guy
Yes.
knows what he's talking about. Now, when he departs from the truth, I'm going to go along. Like I said, it's a good con man. They always give you that hook that
Oh,
makes
yeah.
Yes.
something real, and then they cut the rug out from her.
Yeah. And
Well, a good conspiracy kind of works that way too.
yeah,
There's a little
yeah,
bit
you
of
start with
truth
that
in
little
that, yeah,
nugget
just
of
have-
truth, and then kind of
Yep.
twist and turn and make it fit what you want it to be. And
Exactly, and that's a good segue into writing where that can flow that way as
Yeah.
far as like going from the truth to get
That's
through
that's what science fiction
Yeah.
is. It takes underlying science and it
Mhm.
plays with it.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Trek, the stuff in Star Trek, some of it has come to pass, some of it's theoretically possible, and
Yeah.
but it's fiction.
yeah. I mean, yeah, like my favorite thing is with Star Trek, they're like, well, it's not possible to like beam somebody down to a planet because of this one thing. And so in Star Trek, they're like, oh, well, then we're going to create this thing called the Heisenberg compensator to compensate for that. And then boom, it can happen. And it's
There you
like,
go.
there you go. You've taken your theoretical thing. Somebody said, well, because of this, it didn't work. And so you're like, okay, well, then I'll create this other theoretical thing. And now it works, and it's
To sound good.
yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly. Sound credible.
I love movies and books where the phrasing, the language sounds like the time period or sounds like people would say, even though you don't really know.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot of westerns are like that, where like the John Ford westerns, the people, way they speak sounds like how people back in the 1860s and 1870s would speak, even though we don't really know. Elmore
Yeah.
Leonard, I love Elmore Leonard. And, we
Mhm.
don't really know wise guys, but if you want to think of how they might sound, is how Elmore Leonard writes them.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
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 Definitely.
And I mean, you in this book, you've set up some situations where I'm like, I can totally picture. I mean, like the meeting that the conference call that they have with all of the major hotel chains, once they figured out this is happening in hotels only, we're being targeted, and that whole scene, especially when there's, again, the one woman that,
Well,
she's like,
I got inspiration for this from two areas. People always want to know, well, how'd you think up the idea? Well, one of them was I was in a hotel room on the fourth floor, which was the top floor. And I sat down on the bed and looked up, and there was a trap door in the ceiling. It was kind of a suspended ceiling deal. And there was one of these trap doors, like with a lock or anything. It just had like a thing you put a bobby pin in and turn it, it would open.
okay.
Wow, you could put something up there. What are you going to put up there? Because depending on what you put up there, you're going to have a different book. You put Michael up there that a spy left, you've got a spy thriller. You put mob money up there that somebody, poor innocent, comes across, now you've got that kind of book. My inclination was to put a bomb up there because, number one, I was a bit of a pyro growing up. I made my own gunpowder. I loved fireworks and stuff. I still kind of like things that go boom. And number two, there was a movie in the 70s, which I like, which most people have never heard of, called Roller Coaster.
Oh,
yeah.
Roller Coaster.
With,
Yeah.
With Henry Fonda and George Segal and great cast. And a guy decides to extort entertainment chains that have amusement park rides, park. And so to me, that was a natural thing. Wow. So, okay, you could put a bomb up there and you could extort these companies. And then I thought, well, can you bring a bomb into a hotel? Sure.
I would think nobody's looking through your stuff.
To walk by bomb sniffing dogs or anything. You could bring a backpack nuke in, and all they would ask you at the desk is, here's your key. There's the elevators. Have a nice day. They wouldn't know. So that it was perfect. And in Roller Coaster, there is a scene where they're speaking in a hotel room. The principals are brought together from the consortium. And I don't want to give away too much, but that was an inspiration for that scene.
Okay.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, all throughout this book, there are characters that, I mean, they're so believable, they're so well written. That there are people out there walking the earth that are exactly like this person. I mean,
that's the thing. As a writer, the characters are partly you, they're partly people you've known, they're partly composites of people that you've known. Writers are kind of like actors. I've done some stage acting, and you watch people. And, and you develop characters based on what you see out there, people watching.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And like I said, I'm not done with it yet, so don't tell me how it ends. But
the butler did it.
Yeah. What chapter is he in? It is. I will have to say I've reached several points in this book where it's like, don't scroll to the end. Don't go to the end and look it up. Don't do it. Do not, because it's tempting. You're like, well, if it's not this person, then and you're like,
the other thing you'd have to go back and squeeze shoehorn in.
Yeah.
Why did this? And
it's like,
that's bad science.
You
need to go through the steps to find the conclusion.
Because it's like I'm seriously having to fight that urge to flip through the end to see, who done it, or well, no, I'm at the point where I know who it is, but it's like, how are they? How are they going to get him? How are they? And it's like
that's the thriller part.
Those pieces haven't quite come together, yet, but it's,
that's what makes a thriller is the roller coaster stopping the bad guy and the kind of ticking clock.
Yes.
That you're racing against time because this guy is escalating what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are all part of the thriller experience. You know, and that's another thing that I say in my workshop. You know, don't include so much technical material that you make it boring, because a thriller, if it's anything, can't be boring.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Elmore Leonard, again, one of my influences, him and King and Hemingway and Michael Crichton. Elmer Leonard used to say that he doesn't describe anything if it doesn't give you insight into the character or advance the plot. And
Yes.
to that extent, but that's a good thing to think about, is that you don't want technical detail in there to show how smart you are as a writer or as a person.
Yeah.
It's there to give that element of truth and to give the people something to hold on to, kind of like Hitchcock used to say, the MacGuffin. You know, it's what's driving the story, but it's not the story. The story is the interactions and the conflicts that the characters go through.
Yes. Yeah.
Is the bomb or the industrial diamonds or the microfilm or whatever that makes these people, they're motivated to do something.
Yes. Yeah. I do have to say though that you do give like just enough detail on things that I'm like, oh, okay, that's how, you know, it's happening. That's what that, you know, that's what that is. It's just enough that I'm like, okay, now I understand.
Yeah,
And I like that, because, you know, you reach a point where it's like, well, how? And then somebody, you know, gives you just enough of an explanation that you're like, okay.
So you guys are meeting in the middle.
So yeah.
Well.
So
as
yeah.
far as like from where your imagination to where he brings it in, it's meshing very.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, things that you're like, well, how the heck would Conrad accomplish that? And then, you know, somebody's like, oh, well, see, it's got this and that, and you know, do, and I'm like, oh, okay. So now I can,
you have technical experts talking like that. And again, you don't want too much of it, but when that gives you that look behind the curtain.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I'm in that world. I'm inhabiting that where these people are talking. They're not talking down to me. They're talking to each other.
Yes.
Again, you can't do too much of it, but you should give enough to give the reader, and that's the intention, to give the reader the feeling that they are looking behind the curtain. They're seeing it rather than just watching it.
Yeah. And I mean, like, so you do that perfect balance of, you give us just enough of an explanation of something without hitting us over the head with it. Yep. That now I understand. Now I can, you know, move on and, you know, not have that in my head. Yeah.
Background in technical writing is, especially if you're not writing like a journal article. I've written a crap load of journal articles.
Sure.
But writing something for the public, website content, a consumer handbook or something like that, you've got to take technical material and make it understandable.
Oh yeah, the layman's version. Yes.
Yeah.
With, again, not getting bored or not thinking I'm lost, you know, because like I said, the technical material is not the point anyway.
Yeah.
The point is how the characters do what they do, why they do it, the conflicts they overcome, their relationships. That's the story.
Yes. And you do that quite well as well. I mean, you know, where I am so far. I have to finish this book, but it's like life, you know.
How has the book been doing so far, and when did you release it? Blah blah blah.
Was it March 30th? March 30th or April 1st, something like that. But around then, I really don't see anything on royalties or whatever until on a quarterly basis from my publisher.
Sure.
So I've gotten good feedback, and this is something I'd like to say, but I hope everybody reads the book and likes it. I'm glad you're liking it.
Yes.
Sarah.
Yes.
If you do read it and like it, make sure you leave an Amazon review.
Yes.
There you go.
Amazon reviews lately are like life, because I know almost anything that I'm going to go buy on Amazon, I'm going to go down to those reviews.
Most people look at the reviews to help them decide whether or not both the quality and the number of reviews. You know, you see 2 5-star reviews, That's for you see 22 is better.
Yes.
Plus, Amazon, how they market your book or how they place it in the feed also goes by reviews.
Yes.
Gotcha. That logarithm. Yeah.
And it's easy to do. You just keep scrolling down till you get to write a review at the bottom of the if you go to checkouttimenovel.com, they'll take you right to Amazon and checkout time.
Gotcha.
You just go right to the bottom, write a review, give it a star rating, and you don't have to write a lot, a couple sentences, more if you want, certainly, but
Yeah.
I can craft one for you.
Which one of us has read the book and which one of us hasn't? I think I'm the more qualified one to leave the review.
Well, I had to mess with you. I'm sorry.
I know. Like he's gonna be like, yeah, great book. No, it needs a little more. But yes, definitely. I'm waiting until I finish it before I write my review, but I will definitely be writing you a review. And this whole podcast right now, this whole interview with you is just, a huge review. It's like we're 45 minutes into me telling you how much I'm enjoying this book so far. But and I mean, do you have are you working on another one, or you taking a break, or?
Well, I've written a couple more since I finished Checkout Time a few years ago.
Okay.
And I'm currently I'm over halfway into a sequel to Project Suicide.
Okay. Which, yeah.
Amy and Deacon come back.
Okay.
So that hopefully will continue to go good. And so yeah, I'm always writing something, whether it's a novel or some short stories or whatever. So yeah, continually. And that's what you have to do as a writer. Like I say, you have to treat it as a hobby and a business.
Yes.
This part is you have to try to do it every day. Be diligent about that. Be disciplined. You have to market it. Podcasts.
True. Yes.
Yeah.
The hobby is you have to love doing it, because anybody goes into fiction writing with the idea that they're going to be making $1 million. That's the hope. But
it's a nice perk when it happens.
Yeah.
You got to do it because you love doing it.
Yeah.
If your name's not Stephen King or James Patterson or somebody like that, it's an uphill battle. But you got to do it because the only way you could keep doing it day in and day out and facing the rejection when you send stuff off to agents or whatever is to love doing it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yourself as much as everybody else.
Yeah, I have friends that are writers, and one of them, it's like at least once a month she's like, oh good, I just got rejected by somebody else. It's like that's part of it.
I've got my collection as well.
Yeah.
I send out a lot of short stories, and you get so many rejections that when somebody accepts one, it's like a shock. Because you see these things, you're expecting to hear, we enjoyed it, but it's not for us. Wish you best luck. But so we enjoyed it. We'd like to put it in our. It's like, what? Double check.
Do you look around like, am I being punked right now? Are there cameras? What's going on?
Yeah, I get that random email saying, yeah, we actually like what you did. We want to put it on a stage. Like, oh, okay, sure, okay. But I totally get that. It's like, because you get kind of numb to the rejection. Like, I got another one. Guess I'll put out another one. There's another one. And then when it does pop up, it's like you won the lottery or something, or just you got like maybe 3 numbers on your lotto ticket and you won a couple of bucks. It's that surprise of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned earlier and about your Google search history. Please tell me you have somebody that will erase your entire search history should anything happen to you.
I do that periodically through diagnostics or whatever. But yeah, I don't think that's more in fun. I'm not sure the FBI, especially if they look and you see, and it's funny when I was doing the tour with the FBI PR person, and everybody should introduce me to, whether it's a person at the who takes the calls at the information desk or the armorer or whatever, she would say, "This is Dr. John Bukowski. He's giving a tour. He's a writer, so be careful what you say." They
No,
always
it's not
because he writes it down.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I did tell them when I was looking to get the tour, I said I plan to put the FBI in a favorable light. It's not going to be a hatchet job, and I think I did.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
so
it's real. You put it in a real light. It's like, here's the good, here's the bad. You know, there's the balance. It's not all sunshine and rainbows at the FBI. You still have the internal office crap that everybody.
Nor is it run by
Deals
just
with.
corrupt scumbags, and they're all, and you're just putting a kibosh on that. So yeah,
from watching the news and stuff too, is that the problems with those agencies are typically the higher up people. The day-to-day worker bees, which is primarily what, even when you get to a special agent in charge, there's still pretty much a worker bee. There's so many FBI field offices and resident agencies, because I don't forget how many field offices there are. But then there's all these little satellite, they call them resident agencies, which are dotted around. There may be a Cincinnati field office and a Cleveland field office, but there'll be resident agencies in Dayton and Columbus, things like that.
Yeah.
They're all over, basically.
Yeah,
Well,
we recently in our neighborhood, and it's so funny because, like I said, I'm in the middle of reading this book that has the FBI in it, and
perfect timing.
I go to let out my neighbor's dog, and one of the other neighbors walks by, and he's like, "Hey, did you know that the FBI is raiding this house like 3 blocks away?" And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, while she's reading the book.
While this book, and I'm like, are they searching? Because I have my phone in my hand with the book on it, reading while I'm letting the dog, and it's like, seriously, you're not messing? And he's like, "No, it's just down."
They tap your phone, they know.
I know, and I'm like, are they? And then I'm like, because as a joke, when we moved in, we made our router name FBI Surveillance Van.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, should we change the name of our router? And it's like all this stuff goes through your head when you discover.
Because it's obviously a joke, but no, there might be 1 or 2 people would be like, "Oh, I'm not sure if it is a joke." And,
It's just like before that happened, I was out front talking with a friend of mine that does our lawn for us, and this car, and it was a typical FBI black car, tinted windows, driving very, very slowly past our house. And our house is right at the corner where there's a stop sign, and it sat at that stop sign for a while. And so then when I learned that the FBI was there, I'm going back, and he's like, "Did he say that my Wi-Fi is named FBI Surveillance Van?" And he's like, "Is this where I'm supposed to be? I don't see anybody." Just like, lovely. Am I on their radar?
Did somebody tip the person off? That's
yeah. And so yeah.
It's good when a book makes people think like that.
Yes.
That means as an author, you're in their head.
Yes.
Oh,
So
yeah.
now you've got me paranoid. Congratulations.
Good.
It didn't help any that the FBI showed up to raid this house.
Well,
Seriously, 5 blocks away.
Well,
It's like
basically,
one
it's free
street over
advertising.
and 3 streets, 3 blocks down. There they are. And it's hilarious too, because the entire town was like driving by, taking pictures. And
Oh yeah, it's a small town, so it's a lot of buzz
Yeah.
over what's going on.
Yeah, people love that. If there's any 15 minutes of fame that comes to a little community or something, they
Yeah.
love that for sure.
Oh yeah.
yeah. And then all the rumors start, of course. So yeah. We may never really know what was going on over there, and that part is driving me crazy.
So is there a safe rumor you can share?
There's no safe rumor I can share.
Okay, all right.
No safe, because we've heard drugs, sex trafficking,
Those are safe rumors that you just
corn,
You didn't get
you
specific.
can't say the P word, but corn, you know what I mean? All sorts of cyber crimes, the whole, there's no definitive, this is the leading
That's the other thing that's kind of like we talked about the serial killer, and you
Mhm.
don't be walking past you and you wouldn't know them. You can walk by somebody's house and you have no idea what's going on there or who lives there. Often.
Yeah,
No,
exactly. Because he does door dashing part-time. And when he found out the address of the house, he's like,
yeah, I've delivered there many
I've
times.
delivered there, yeah, a lot. And I'm like, what did it look like on the inside? Did you see it inside? And he's like, no, I dropped it at the door, took the picture, and left.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it is scary. I mean, Conrad in this book is somebody that you walk by,
Yeah.
on your way to Starbucks, or you could be standing in line behind him getting your coffee or your McDonald's or whatever, or he is, and that kind of person. And
If you look at the cover, the checkout time, I tried to make him a shadowy figure.
yes.
Mhm.
And even when he's described, yeah.
Well, I'll be putting up a graphic as well. So
Yeah, we'll put that up. But yeah, even when he's described in the book.
About Conrad, he is a bit of a chameleon.
Yes, exactly.
Identities. I think I describe him in there as a character actor's ability to take on identities and disguises. And so that makes him that much harder to pin down.
Exactly. Yeah,
Mhm.
because in the book, people who have seen him before things happen, they're like, oh, well, he looked like this. And they'll be describing like an older man, blah blah blah. But then the next time it's like, oh no, he looked like this. And it's like, and with makeup techniques and fake mustaches, wigs, the whole, you can completely alter.
Oh yeah, it's gotten better and better. I know from the stage acting that I've done that, for example, did Into the Woods, and I was the wolf in
Mhm.
Cinderella. And the wolf, we tried to make him like the cartoon wolf in look.
okay.
But we actually had a little cheap prosthetic nose that basically just glued on a snout that glued on over my own and left the bottom open so you could still sing.
Mhm.
And then had a very good makeup artist who blended the makeup in with it and put a fright wig on me. And I was unrecognized. I looked in the mirror and I couldn't recognize me.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because it changed the whole shape of your face. And you can do all kinds of that with cheap, simple prosthetics and makeup, glues, mustaches, that kind of stuff. You
Mhm.
really can make people look unrecognizable.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I did a play, the Tuna Vegas plays, where in the plays you have normally the way it was written, you only have two guys playing all of the characters, but we kind of split it up. And I nightly turned this kid who's 6'4" into this beautiful truck stop waitress with makeup, wigs, the whole nine. And it's like, by the time you're done with the makeup, he was beautiful.
Yeah, he pulled it off pretty
He
well.
was gorgeous with his, black curly bun, messy bun, and the whole makeup and all of that. And then, takes it off and he's the college kid again. And it's just, I mean, it is amazing. And in this book, you show at one scene he looked like this, and another scene he looked like that. He knew how to manipulate, how to alter his face, alter his look, just with little details that made you go, okay.
That makes it makes him that much harder for them to pin down. And it makes
Yes.
all that hunt for him more believable because it's that much harder.
Exactly.
You want to have make anything easy for your protagonist.
Yes.
There's hurdles to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
That's another hurdle just in identifying the guy.
Yeah. And I mean, it makes him, it makes you realize he's very aware that we live in a society now where everywhere you go, there's cameras. Right. Everywhere you go, you're going to be on camera. So, he even just checking in to the hotels, full disguise, because he knows the lobby's got cameras everywhere. and they're going to say, oh, well, if it's this room, then it's this guy, and this is the time he checked in. Well, let's roll back the film, Fred, and see what's going on.
Yeah.
And we've got a 60-year-old man checking in. So, oh, okay, we're looking for a 60-year-old man. Well, no, then the next time, we're looking for something completely different.
Creating the different personas for him that ran the gamut from old man to beatnik to villains of the past kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
New teacher.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Different things. That was fun coming up with those too. That's, like I said, that's part of the writing process. If it can be, it's got to be fun for you.
Well, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Put through. I mean, even this was a quick one, and it's 5 months just to get the first draft.
Yeah.
It's a long way from being a publishable book. So it's a process. It's kind of like whiskey making, in that you put it in the barrel, and it's going to be 2 years at least before you know what it's like. You're taking you're putting in a lot of time before you see how this turns out, and so you have to have a little faith in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, like I said,
I
I'm loving it so far. And like I said, I've hit the point where I know who the villain is, but now I'm like, how the heck because he can change his appearance.
Right.
And so it's like, how the heck are they gonna catch him now? And so I'm in that stressful moment. Thank you very much. Where I'm, doing the stress eating while you're reading thing, because it's like, what, so
one of the questions I wanted to ask when you're writing, would you also do acting? How much do you apply improv skills to your writing?
Well, I don't know about improv, but it is, you mentioned that because you can generally, as a generalization, put writers into two categories. There's plotters and pantsers. The plotters outline everything.
Yes.
And they may depart from the outline somewhat as they go, but they spend their first month or so just outlining how they want the book to go, and then they fill it in. Whereas the pantsers, referring to by the seat of your pants, Stephen King's a pantser, for example, you let it happen. You write in kind of not a stream of consciousness, but you write with a destination in mind, but the twists and turns kind of happen and are revealed to you. So that is a form of improvisation, and that is kind of the way I write. And also, but as an actor, it's the same kind of thing, is everything comes through you. Whatever character you're portraying is funneled through you, and you have to tap into the sides of yourself, whether they be an evil side or a jealous side or a saintly side or whatever. Stephen King actually wrote a book about that called The Dark Half, where the guy's dark side comes out and takes over.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, you bring it all through you like that, just like an actor, and you develop the characters using aspects of your own personality and aspects of other people around you.
So beware, we may be in a book of his in the future. You never know.
Because the way he had talked about the outlining and pants, because I've written different things with those two different goals in mind, and actually did both. And I'm not sure exactly which way works best. I think it might depend on the project, which process works better.
And bear in mind, neither way is wrong.
No, not at all.
They plot everything out. It's all of a matter of, part of it's the genre. I think By the Seat of Your Pants works better with thrillers, because if you're surprised, the reader's going to be surprised.
Yeah.
Whereas plotting works much better with mysteries, because you don't paint yourself into corners.
Oh yeah, exactly. Because you have to give the little hint here, give the little hint there. Yeah.
Clues and things like that. So that probably works better with that. And it's a matter of personal taste as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Yeah.
I
So
didn't
now,
mean to
yeah,
throw in that whole talking shop part of it. So-
yeah. But now I'm just hoping that in one of his future works, I'm not like, wait a minute, is this me? Uh,
you never know. You might be in a couple of things I've read. So there you go.
like I said, I have friends that are authors that I'm like, I know I'm in a book somewhere, even if it's just like a little bit of a character. I know somewhere they've thrown me in, and you just have to accept that. If you have an author in your life, I mean, do you have friends and family that they're like, just tell me, have you put me in a book? Am I in there? Yeah.
I have once or twice asked somebody if I could use their name in a book.
Okay.
Then only when if it's a really despicable person or something, I'll say, "Can I use your name?" I like the name for whatever. But usually, people are more flattered than anything if they see their name appear in writing.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And again, the character names you get from all kinds of different sources. One of
Oh, yeah.
the characters, my detective Doolittle Powell, that comes out of the movie The Flim Flam Man with George C. Scott. There's a moonshiner named Doolittle Powell.
Gotcha.
There you go.
It's just a name I liked, and so it was reincarnated in this.
There you
Very
go.
cool.
There you go. I'm trying to think, because I seriously
Well,
now I
there-
want to get back to the
yeah.
book and try and finish it, because I'm so close.
I think we're down to plugging time. We're running out of time.
Which
So
you said you are working on some stuff. You're bringing back characters from Suicide Project.
Project Suicide. I'm
Project
working-
Suicide, yeah.
I also have a first draft, or probably a second or third draft by this point, of a horror thriller
Oh yes, I love horror. I love horror.
called The Art of Sorcery.
Ooh.
And I've got a couple other books I'm pitching. One is a total non-thriller. It's more of a Hallmark movie channel type of romance.
Nothing wrong with that.
well, if you can write that, go for it.
Yeah.
Some publishers. So you never know. And short stories. I've got a bunch of feelers out on those.
Very
And
cool.
if people are
Very cool.
interested in learning more about you, learning more about your works, it's
Go
what is your
to-
website, John?
It's thrillerjohnb.net,
Yes.
and you've got links there to Checkout Time, to Project Suicide, some other examples of my writing. I do a blog periodically that I put
Okay.
on. And as I said, if you want to get Checkout Time and leave a review, checkouttimenovel.com, all one word. That'll
Okay.
take right to Amazon.
All right.
There you go.
All right. And like I said, anybody watching this, if you want something that's going to give you some twists and turns and, really good, really well-developed characters and all of that, check out Time. I'm 2 thumbs up for me so far. Like I said, I'm not done with it. I need to get back to it, but the whole FBI raid in the neighborhood kind of made me go, I'm going to just put this down for a minute.
That was a
Walk
weird
away.
coincidence.
Yeah, it was just
Like the ending. I've had some very good compliments on the ending. So.
okay. Well, yeah, I like I said, I'm gonna pick it back up, but with the FBI raid in the neighborhood, I was like, we're just gonna put this down for now because I don't know what all they're doing over there. I'm just gonna put that down.
So anyway, this has been Charles Bukowski.
John Bukowski.
John, I said Charles.
You see Charles.
I had Bukowski go through the head.
Charles
Sure.
Bukowski is the famous Bukowski.
Exactly.
Writer. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is John.
Exactly. Yes.
This is
A
John.
big difference.
Yeah.
I like to tell people my Uncle Chuck. You mean my Uncle Chuck?
Oh, I like that.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, you Google
Oh,
him.
that's funny.
He's a famous baseball player. You Google me, and I'm a radio personality in the UK.
Who's
So-
not very welcome there.
Who's not? Who's
She has alternate
she's-
viewpoints.
she's had
Leave
some
it at that.
difficulties
Yes.
in the UK. So
Okay.
don't Google me. But anyway, this has been John
On
Bukowski. Check out his book, Checkout Time, and his other work, Project
Right.
Suicide.
Project
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 Suicide.
Suicide.
Okay, I keep flipping. I don't know why I
okay.
keep wanting to say Suicide Project, but it's Project Suicide.
There you go.
And then
Project rather than as you know,
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
see it on a form.
Yeah. And then hopefully we can have you back on when new books come out.
I'd appreciate it.
Oh, if you want to come,
Yes.
and once it's out, like say six months or whatever period, and you can just want to come back and if you have more ideas on what's going
I always
on and
love
give
to
us
talk
progress
writing.
report, it's all good.
Like that. If you notice behind me, you see in my books and stuff,
Yes.
Yes.
that is just part of my video collection. I have like 650 titles in my old movies. So I love to
Sweet.
talk too. As you
All
can-
right. Well,
And
We'll
we'd be
definitely-
happy to
yeah.
discuss any movies or whatever. We have no problem with that.
definitely have to have you
We could
back
do
for
some deep
further
dive
discussion
stuff.
on
Yeah,
stuff.
sure.
But for now, it has been amazing. I need to go finish this book now that the FBI is not in the neighborhood anymore.
There you go.
I need to go change my router name. A little paranoid now. But yeah, this has been amazing. Everybody go check out Time. Highly recommend it. Just go to your website, which we'll put a link down below. So people can go check out your website and check out your other things, other projects. But yeah, thanks so much for being on, and we'll definitely have to have you back. Yeah. So thanks.
Pause. Trying to pause.
Okay, so that was John
Bukowski.
John Bukowski, who has now made me paranoid that the FBI is monitoring everything that I'm doing.
That was a very weird coincidence.
It was just so weird. Like I said, I'm in the middle of reading a book about the FBI chasing somebody, and then the FBI shows up in my neighborhood. So, yeah,
Yeah.
just real life and entertainment kind of blending there. But yeah, go check it out. We're going to be doing some more reviews coming up.
Well, I'm glad I got in some shop talk.
Yes.
Writer to writer. That was pretty cool.
Yes, he loves talking writing with just anybody. So yeah, and cautionary tale. If you have a writer in your life, you're probably in a book somewhere. So there's that. But yeah, we will be back with more reviews. We're working on setting
More
up
interviews as well.
Yeah, we're working on setting up our
those.
reviews for June. So, and there's the tornado siren test. So it's noon.
It's noon and we're out.
So see you later.